Outer Orange. Oh, I didn't see you there. Why, hello and welcome to my deck profile today. We're going to be talking about Referati. Now, as you guys know, there has been a recent upgrade to the Bermuda Triangle Referati, and it is called the Rock. That's right, the Rock is here today, and we're going to be talking about the Bermuda Triangle deck profile of the new Bermuda Triangle cards that we got for the Clan Collection, V Premium Clan Collection. They got all the reverse units, but then we also got the new girl. That's right, the new girl. You guys want to see her? Boom, there she is. So today I'm going to be showing you this little deck profile that I created. It's nothing crazy, but you can use it to kind of, build your own deck and kind of start out. You can use my ideas if you want to kind of make yourself a build. We're going to talk about today, and if you need your own rockin' and rolling beautiful SPs or whatever, you can go over to 50cards.shop. That's right, 50cards.shop. You can use my code ORANGE and get yourself some cars. So yeah, Springfest is coming up. You better get your cars while you can. We about to start soon. California is on its way, so you gotta rock it out with your really old Xbox 360 guitar and see what you can do. Let's get started. All right, fam, it is Pretty Way tonight. Welcome back. Pretty much, she is just a nice little mechanic that's been added to the Clan Collection for those of you guys that are Bermuda Triangle players, or you want to try out this deck, whatever you're in the mood for. I think this deck is actually really wonderful. Here we have, this is the cyber trading girl dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm using these sleeves right now. These are the same people that made the other sleeves that I've been using. The one with my Bermuda Triangle Prism Highlander profile. It's by the same people. Colorful Pastoral, I think it's called, deck box. It came in like a little set with a bunch of these cards and all this stuff. Nothing too crazy in there, but you do get some really cool force markers. So if you're really into it, it was pretty cheap a while back. I don't know if it's still cheap now, but you get a deck box, you get sleeves, you get a bunch of cool stuff with it. So I recommend it if it's still in the $20 range. Original grade 3, and then we'll go into the other grade 3. But pretty much the purpose of this is you get a bunch of force markers and then you multi-attack on with your force marker numbers. It's pretty interesting. But pretty much we have the original. This is the single quiet Referati. So this is the chill one, the one with the glasses. And pretty much her skill says she has a bunch of skills. So she has Cannon Blast, discard a card from your hand, and you rest herself. So it is a Vanguard skill, so you have to rest herself as a Vanguard. And you perform the following below 4 or less force markers. You get 2 force markers and you put them pretty much wherever. And then you reveal the same number of cards on top of your deck as the number of rear guards with force markers on, and put them into your hand. Pretty much what happens is you rest her, and then you get yourself some force markers, and then you get drive checks based on how many force markers you have. So essentially in this case you would get 3 drive checks, and it's only on your rear guard, so it doesn't include Vanguard. So the highest you can have is total 5 and all that stuff, and you pretty much get some drive checks. You do them. You can put some units here and you do that thing. Now she does have a secondary skill. Her secondary skill, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you do perform them. You do perform. So if you get a crit or whatever, they do activate. Anyway, and then if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, all of your grade 2 or less rear guards with force markers can attack from the back row. So essentially, if you have force markers back here, like on your 3 circles in the back, they can also attack that force markers on them. So essentially, if you have 5 markers, you can go, you can rest this, put all the pressure on your rear guards, and then go swing, 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 swing. Now, there is a kick to this, because that sounds pretty lame, right? That doesn't sound too crazy or anything like that. You can get it to have the 5 attacks and all that stuff. So then we have this bad girl. This is the rock and rollin' style of it. So this is the Rock. This is pretty much herself, but the Rock version of her. And her skill says that at the end of the battle that your rear guard attacked, if you have a Vanguard Referati with her name, so that'd be her, in its card name, and a rested rear guard on all circles with rear guards that have force markers on them, you Cannon Blast to ride this unit stand, move all your force markers to her, and at the end of the turn, remove all force markers from your Vanguard. You get a force marker for each 2 removed. So essentially what you do is, we're just going to use these as an example just to make it a little easier. We're just going to pretend these are all grade 2s. You do your 5 checks, so it would be 5 in this case. So you could have some pretty insane stuff. Then you go swing, 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 and then on this one, or you can, I think they have to be rested. So then on this one, you can Cannon Blast 2, take 1 from hand, and you ride it. So you get another force marker, by the way. So just to make it more fun. And I recommend putting it on the Vanguard. And you get another force marker, and then here comes the fun part. You take all of these force markers, which is probably the most tedious part about this, if you ask me. It's fun, but it's tedious. You take all these force markers and you put them here, and you essentially restand. And you swing with this for 73 or whatever. And then at the end, for every 2 you get one back. So you get rid of 2, you get 1. But yeah, so that's pretty much the main engine of this. But then we have like pretty much our supporting engine. There really is no cards that are printed strictly for her. Meaning like there's no cards to say if your Vanguards before you do something aside from this card itself. This is the only card that pretty much like literally works with this card. But everything else you just kind of like do what you want to do. For Aqua, you know, bounce, call, whatever, just, you know, it's just really good. You pretty much, you know, you bounce something from the board to your hand, you draw a card and you discard. I mainly run her for the 5k. She makes force numbers, which is better. On a force marker she becomes 25, and there really isn't that many good beaters, so this is one of the better beaters. And then along with her we also have Seera, which is actually also part of the clan collection stuff that we just got for the V. So this is Seera. Her skill says when placed you can discard a card, look at top 3 cards, put 1 card from the top 3 to your hand, and then put the other 2 at the bottom, and she gets 5k, or she gets 10k if your opponent's a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. Essentially she becomes a 30k beater on force. So again, I just run her strictly for the numbers, but also this one's really nice because you can fish for PGs, you can fish for whatever you want. You really need to see these. So the main thing is you want to see these as soon as possible. Specifically this one, to go into this one, you don't really want to do it the other way around. You can, but it'll cost you so much more to go from this to this, or meaning like this into another version of herself, because she does stay Ferrari, doesn't stay which one. So you can do it, but it's just so much worse. You're pretty much paying 2 counterblasts, and then you have to remove those markers, and it just kind of sucks. So I don't think it's worth it, but you know, you can do that, but you mainly want to go into this. It's the better plan of the 2, and you just want to do that. So in order to do that, you got to find them. So this and this kind of help you search. Last but not least, this is a Solaris section. You can run like Lizelot or something else in here. I'm just running this just for kicks and just as something different to try out, but you can run something else. I'm running the on-hit girl. So this is passive, I believe her or phasive, I think her name is, like the way it's said anyway. But yeah, it's Cerulean Jewelry passive. But what her skill pretty much says is when she hits a Vanguard, you can search your deck for a copy of herself, deck or drop, and put it to your hand. And then when she attacks, you can discard 2 copies of herself, draw 2 cards, and she restands. So essentially, the reason why I run her is it's kind of like a high roll thing. You can put her on a force marker, attack with her, and then restand and attack with her again. So it essentially gives you another attack. It doesn't cost anything, but discarding 2 copies of herself, which are just 5ks, and you draw into like pretty much better shield. So you can put triggers on her. Like you can use her skill, put triggers on her, and then she becomes even more annoying. She'll become like 10, 20, 30 maybe, like with like a crit on it, whatever it is, and then she restands, and then she just gets lethal. So essentially she's like your win con. Now like I said, you can run other things. I don't say you definitely can. I would suggest to run other stuff. I'm just running this because I'm just feeling, I don't know, I just like being weird. I like trying new things. So I run the Grade 3 Searcher. She's kind of needed, as much as I hate to say it. You really need to hit these like as soon as possible. You need to see your Ferrari stuff. If you don't, you kind of lose. So I run all 4 of them. She also gets 5k on a force marker as well, since she'll have something in front of her. Pretty much she works the same way as Aqua. Both of these will become pretty nice beaters, so not too bad. She's a 23k attacker, all that fun stuff. And then next I run, this is also part of the new stuff. This is Sparkling Soul Nikita, and this is actually a really fun card, and I really wish I could make this work in a better deck where I think it belongs, which is Coral, but I just can't see Coral being like insanely good, so I struggle with that concept. But Coral would be one of the best decks to run this in. But anyway, her skill says when this unit is placed on rear guard or guard circle, you can soul blast or more. So you can just soul blast 1, or you can soul blast, you know, your whole soul if you want. And this unit gets 5k power, 5k shield for each for at the end of the turn for each soul blast paid for the cost. If you soul blast 3 or more, you draw a card. So essentially she becomes a 25k shield because she gets 5k for each for each thing you soul blast, and then on the 3rd one you draw cards. She's 25k at that point, and then you can just keep soul blasting if you want. You don't have to, but she gets power on top of that, so she becomes a 23k attacker, and then on top of that, you know, everything else just kind of is it 23? Yes, 23. 20k attacker if you soul blast 3, and then it's more than that. In this deck particularly, you don't go into this too often. You do like kind of rack up soul, but you gotta be careful. I have other cards that kind of help with soul, so this card does go off, but I mainly use this like defensively than offensively, but either way it works. But I love this card because it's a defense or offense card, and I really like the concept of having defense offense cards, and I really hope that we're gonna see more of these. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's super cool. Next I run 3 Finessa. So this is a soul replenisher, and she's also a heal guard replenisher. Her skill says at the end of the battle, this unit attacked or boost, you can put a grade 3 or greater from your drop to the bottom of your deck, put her into soul, and you draw a card. This card's amazing. I've been talking about this card for a while. Pretty much you can heal guard like early, you can put her down, and then you can send the heal guard to the bottom of your deck and draw a card. So essentially you're sending heals back to deck while also drawing. Really awesome. And then, you know, it's just a good card. And then with that, I have also Spiana, who does essentially the same thing. The only difference with this one is that you have to return a rear guard or vanguard that's the same card name on the board as in your drop to bottom of your deck. So you can return a version of herself bottom of the deck, or you can return heal guardians if you have a heal guardian on the board for whatever reason. You know, whatever floats your noggin, whatever makes you dip your chicken nuggies in your ketchup, whatever works, you can do that. You know, it's your deck. You can run more of these, run less of these, run more of these, less of these, whatever floats. You could do 4-2, whatever you want. I think it just works. You can cut these back for more of these, whatever makes you happy. I think it works. Got 4 heals, 4 crits, total 8 crits, and then 4 draw PGs. There really isn't anything special here. It's just the generic ride line. Generic line, you can experiment with like maybe crit sentinels or whatever. I honestly don't see too much going on here. This deck draws a lot, so you don't really need to worry about like certain shield values or whatever. You can kind of just mess around with what you want. You do want Caraboss early, so you can maybe decide to run like the regular 20k heals if you want. If you truly are feeling like you want to stay safer with the heals in your hand that are 20k shields, that's up to you. But other than that, this is pretty much just the basic thing. And then of course we have our starter, and then we have our quick shield. Great stuff. I know. On top of that, you can go Force 1 or Force 2. I recommend Force 1. I don't see why you'd ever want to go Force 2 unless you have every rearguard have some kind of pump power. Really is no reason to go Force 2. You could, if you have a way to power up your entire board, you could totally go Force 2, but that's only if you have a way to pump up your board. I would say this is more like a premium call. In premium, there's ways to pump up your board. I think in V, you just kind of have to stick with what you have. There really is nothing crazy that just completely becomes powerful. Like there's no like skull dragons or anything like that, so you can't go too insane with this. So I think Force 2 is a better option. The other reason why I think Force 1, the other reason I think Force 1 is better is because it makes your your Vanguard swing, like the one where you rewrite essentially, just way more lethal, as it's pretty much a Uranus swing and it's asking for a PG. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share this with you guys. I thought it'd be just fun to talk about this deck. I haven't done like a regular deck profile in a hot minute. I've been doing like some analysis ones and like my band profile, but I haven't actually done like a straight deck profile. Again, take this with a grain of salt. You can change it up however you want. I'm just giving you guys like my generic approach. I haven't spent hours on this. I always want to clarify that like if I spend hours on a deck, you'll know. Like my Prism Highlander list, I spent literal hours, days, weeks on that deck. So like I knew that deck in and out. But a deck like this is a little bit more generic. So of course I don't know everything. There's probably more in here that you can explore. This is more like a skeleton list for you to just take and have fun with. But I'm just here to make the video to get you to A, know about it, and B, try it out. So just do whatever. You might see something here that you're like, wow, that sounds kind of cool, multi-attacking with force numbers, moving the force markers around. I think the moving the force marker around concept is actually super cool, so I'm really excited that they're kind of experimenting with that kind of stuff. But yeah, other than that, that's all I really have. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Rock out, enjoy, get your concert excitement going as you switch from Glasses Chan to Rock and Roll Chan. You hearing me? You're gonna head bop your winner, your opponent to their death. You're just gonna go and then they're suddenly dead and you're like, wow, what just happened? They died because you rocked them to death, literally. But that, guys, I'm gonna head out. Peace out. Get ready for Springfest. Springfest is right around the corner. Peace out. Das Vidania. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. As always, subscribe if you liked what you saw. Bye.